Well, good morning, everybody. This is Peter Roper and Anna Simpson, and welcome to this webinar that's live across Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube currently. Morning, Anna.
Good morning, Peter. So good to be here with you today. I'm really privileged to be joined by you in this webinar.
Just before we got started, we were talking about Christmas films, and the big danger is that we talk about Christmas and Christmas films instead of the webinar. I'm sure we won't. I think we will get on and do some stuff with it. I'm looking
well, it's about having fun, and we're going to have fun on the webinar. Why not?
Why not?
We're not going to talk about Christmas movies. It's serious stuff here. Okay.
All right. I will not talk about White Christmas anymore then. So we're here to talk about growing your business with confident speaking. With Anna and I both have a love about speaking. You know, we've both been doing it for some years. Me a little more because I'm older, basically. And I think what you're going to get today is two viewpoints: a male and female viewpoint, and an older and younger viewpoint about speaking. And that's the beauty of this webinar and the beauty of the program that we're putting together. And I'm very excited about that. So at the end of it, yes, we're going to tell you about a program you might like to be involved in. And if you do like to be involved, that's great. We can have a chat about it. But, you know, we're going to share the next 60 minutes and share some ideas and some thoughts and go with there, really. So I think I'll start, if I may, by kicking on this slide here and putting that up. And I think Anna wants to let everybody know a little bit about me.
Yes. Well, I don't know who's watching, but if you know Peter, he doesn't really need introduction. He's just an incredible, amazing man who has so much value to add, and you are in for a treat, honestly. But if you know him, if you're watching the recording, or you haven't met Peter, he has been in business for nearly 40 years. Now, don't worry, he started when he was about 10 years old, so don't worry about his age. But he is passionate about building business, growing businesses, and helping other people grow their businesses. So over these years, he has had 6 businesses. 3 of which were really successful and 3 not so much. But guess which ones presented the most valuable lessons? Now, he has worked with thousands of family business owners in the UK, helping them grow and develop. And he's not just passionate about entrepreneurship, but he knows from his own experience what creates success. So he also knows a thing or two about speaking, having shared his keynotes and presentations in front of more than 750,000 delegates worldwide. He has spoken internationally as well, and served as the national president of the Professional Speakers Association in the UK in 2009. He also was a board member for a number of years in the PSA, and he is a fellow speaker. That's like a really high level of speaking accomplishments. That's one of my goals. And Mr. Roper has earned the reputation of being a natural speaker, because you get the same Peter on stage and off stage. He is the author of 6 books, including the New York Times bestseller called And Death Came Third, which actually, an interesting fact about it became the bestseller in the first 12 hours of the book release. Imagine that. Now, the man will inspire you, educate you, entertain, and will equip you with practical tools to go and change, elevate your results, really. Now, the most important thing about Peter Roper is that he's a person of integrity. high integrity, and he is the man who cares. So I am so privileged and excited to be joined by Peter today. And please help me welcome to this virtual stage the one and only Peter Roper. You can clap. We can't hear you. We can't
I
see
clap
you. But
myself. I clap myself. All right.
yay!
All right. Well, hopefully you will still like what I've got to say. Anna, bless you for that very kind word.
Oh,
It's very, very good of you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just cover some thoughts for 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to get then Anna is going to share some ideas too. And yeah, that's all about me at the end of the day. So let's move on. Let's ask you a quick question, shall we? Why are you here? Why are you here on this webinar? You're taking 60 minutes of your life out, not just to hear us originally talk about Christmas and Christmas trees. You're here because there's something you want to know about speaking. And it could be for a number of reasons, but you've taken time and trouble, and we appreciate the opportunity of spending 60 minutes with you, of giving you some ideas and some thoughts and some steers. And I tend to think about things, first of all, from why, whenever I talk to anybody about speaking, because it's the number one. When we all know the 6 serving men of who, what, where, when, why, and how. And we tend to get down into details of how to speak and present. But unless you know why, it's academic. You could be great at what and how, but unless you know why, it is academic. So for many people listening right now, let me ask you the question, why are you here? Is it to improve your career? Maybe you're employed. Maybe you've got a job. And maybe you want to move onwards and upwards. Maybe you feel that standing up and speaking and presenting is something you want to be better at. Maybe you're already good and want to get better. Maybe, frankly, you're not so good, or at least in your mind, you're not so good, and you want to improve, which is great, because there's no doubt that standing up and presenting, speaking, whatever you want to call it, undoubtedly helps you move your career forward. And the reason for that is because most people don't want to do it, which I'll cover in a few minutes. So maybe it's improving your career. Maybe you're running your own business like us. Both Anna and I both run our own businesses. Anna also is part of her husband's business as well. So they run 2 businesses together. We've had 6 family businesses of our own, 3 successes, 3 failures. And as Anna said, I've learned far more from losing a lot than from ever success. But currently we run 2 family businesses. And getting more business is always a real important part of business. If it's not getting more business, it's getting better business. And one of the key ways you get business is by standing up, speaking, and presenting. There's no doubt about it. You get opportunities to do so. So maybe for you, it's, I want to get more business, and I recognize the fact either I'm good and I want to get better, or I'm not so good and I want to get at least reasonable at presenting my business. It might be you want to be recognized with this gratuitous slide picture that I put in here to become the authority in your field. All right. Where Anna lives and where I live, we are lucky to be surrounded by fields. And it's hard to stand out in a field. It really is. And it's the same in business. There are an awful lot of people doing the same thing as you and I do. There are a lot of people that are teaching speaking and presenting. All right. It's one of the top programs worldwide. So we're not talking about something that not many people want to know about. There's an awful lot of people want to know about it, but also there are an awful lot of people doing it. So, you'll decide at the end of the day whether today's been useful to you. You might also decide that actually you'd like some more help from Anna and myself. We look at things from a particular perspective, and Anna's going to cover that shortly. But being the authority in your field is a big deal. There's no doubt about it. When you're recognized as an authority in your field, it does a lot for you as a person. It does a lot for you for your business. So if you are a sole trader, or if you are, a consultant, what have you, people recognize you as the go-to person, then absolutely it's something to be revered. And speaking and presenting is a fundamental when it comes to stuff like that. So maybe, just maybe, that's something that we can help you with. What else? Well, perhaps for recognition, perhaps simply for recognition, perhaps being recognized for being good at what you do. Many people go through life and their light is hidden under a bushel. It's hidden under a stone. People are fantastic. I'm sure you, as Anna, know lots of people who are stunningly good at what they do. And yet they hold themselves back and they hold themselves back because they don't take the opportunity when it presents themselves. And I don't mean to be pushy, but that's a different thing. But to give the opportunity to show people how good they really are, how good they can really shine in what they do. I watched a program recently. I don't know if anybody's been watching it. The program on the aquarium down in Plymouth, and I love the aquarium down there. It's fantastic, and it's showing a lot of the backroom people there. And one of the ones I saw this week was a lady who's in her 80s who has been a volunteer for 20 odd years. Right, 20 odd years. Her husband passed away a long time ago, bless them, and they recognised her for 20 years volunteer service. And it gave her the opportunity to stand in front of people. Here's the thing. She learned that talking to people about the things she really loved, which is all the creatures in the aquarium, be it sharks, believe it or not, or turtles, or in my case, the ray. I love looking at the rays. All right. And she's become an expert in them just because she loves the being there and talking to families, the kids, the moms and dads, whatever. And they recognized it. In fact, they put her in for an award and she won a national award and they presented her with the award. And she actually said until she'd come to there and stood up and started talking to people, she hid back. She didn't talk about things. So recognition is a big deal for people, and getting over the hurdle of speaking and presenting, because it is a hurdle. It can be very much a hurdle for people. And I know it's personally, it's a hurdle. I'll explain that in a minute. Recognition is a big deal. So for most people that say, hello, I want to know more about speaking and presenting, for most people, they're usually being held back by something. They're usually being held back by one of a number of areas. And I just want to cover a couple. And you may recognize this in yourself, or recognize, you might be watching this on behalf of somebody else, in which case recognize it for them. What is it holding you back? Well, it might be lack of knowledge. It might be as simple as lack of knowledge. I don't know, maybe you're new into your business, you're new into your role being employed, and you feel nervous because you haven't got the knowledge. You're dealing with people who've been doing something for 30 years. You've been there for 2 minutes, and you know what? You're a bit nervous about it, understandably. Experience is a big deal. Experience means a lot. For many people, I have seen many people such experience, and yet they don't stand up and speak and present when the opportunity arises. And perhaps that's because they simply don't believe they can do it. They don't believe they can actually get onto their feet, or in this case, get onto a Zoom, all right, or a StreamYard, and speak. All of a sudden, life is different. Yet they're full of the experience, the knowledge, the ability, and yet there's this thing called speaking. Oh my God, I don't want to do it. And most people are held back. And I know Anna's going to enjoy this picture because she loves cats, right? And that's the number one. That scares the hell out of me, that picture. Anyway, most people in speaking are held back by fear. Fear is the thing that holds most people back. Fear of the unknown, fear of looking stupid, fear of being poked fun at, fear of putting the head above a parapet, if you want to put it that way. That's the number one. And I know it's true because Anna kindly mentioned back in April the 5th, 2006, my then co-author, Andy Lapata, and I wrote a book called A Death Came Third. And it did become a best-selling book in 12 hours. We had some very nice people say very nice things about it. And people have always asked, well, what the hell do you mean? And death came third. Well, it's because of a 1984 New York Times survey of our top 10 fears. Snakes came 7th, spiders came 6th, and death came 3rd. Can you believe it? Death came 3rd. Number 2 was walking into a room full of strangers. The business text, that would be networking. And number 1 was speaking in public. And this thing is run, this process is run every year. And those top two are always the same. Speaking in public, walking into a room full of strangers, number 1, number 2. So we would rather leap into a pit of snakes and spiders and die than stand up and speak and present, and perhaps to a room full of people we don't know, which is bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers. Except I totally get it. I totally get it. And people will look at me and go, oh, it's all right for you, Peter. You've been speaking for years. Oh, blimey. Oh, you're going to rabbit for an hour. Yeah, well, hang on a minute. I wasn't always like that. Now, this isn't a picture of me, but it kind of is how I would view how I looked. Yes, the truth is I am slightly older than Anna, as she's already told you. I'm 67 years old. So back in the late 60s, I was at school, a boys' grammar school, state grammar school. And I didn't enjoy school much, to be frank. And the one thing I could do was I could read out a book. I would stand up and read out of a book. And I found that the kids in the class didn't want to do it. And I did it. And I wasn't bad at it. I wasn't brilliant at it, but I wasn't bad at it. So as an 11 come 12-year-old, I would quite regularly be asked to read out. And one day, the English teacher, who didn't like me, and I have to say I didn't like him, asked me to read a poem, a very famous poem by William Blake called Tiger, Tiger. It starts up, Tiger, Tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. I said it with my best Brummie accent, which really I should have said, Tiger, Tiger, burning bright. And that's how I read it. And I read it out and finished it. And he looked at me, and I'm standing in front of the whole class. And he said, Roper, what was it about? I said, it's about a tiger, sir. And he said, Roper, you are a cretin with a Birmingham accent. Hope that doesn't offend anybody, but it's exactly what he said. You're a cretin with a Birmingham accent. Don't ever stand up and speak in this school again. And I was in my first year of senior school, 11 come 12, and I never did. I never spoke again, ever. The one thing I could probably do in school for 5 years, and I get two reactions always. And so the people that are in the studio watching this at the minute, I'm seeing some of their faces where they're laughing about it, and that's perfectly fine. And there are some people I can see who are genuinely upset about it, and the both are true. Both are true. Did that hold me back at school? Yes, it did. No question, it held me back. The next time I had the opportunity to speak at all in front of a group of people, and I've stolen this slide because I can't get a picture of where I was actually from, but it was a bit like this, and it was in black and white quite deliberately. I was working for a motor manufacturer in Birmingham, and I was asked to go because I was on an education program inside the company, and I was asked if I would be part of it. I said yes, and I said great. There's a couple of things you have to do, and I got involved with it. And then just before the big reveal, they said, by the way, your job is you're standing up and presenting it. Now, you have to understand, I was terrified. I wasn't just scared. I was terrified because of what had happened to me. And there was a dais at the front, and it was a room very much like this. And it had 1,000 people in it. All right. It had 1,000 people in it. And I had to stand up, and you didn't have PowerPoint slides in those days. You had people with pictures and stuff. It's hilarious now. And I had to read out. And I read out a bunch of words, basically. And I was holding on to the dais, or whatever you like to call it, for grim death. And I can tell you the reason why I was holding my knuckles were white, because my legs had given way. Literally, my legs had given way. And I was holding on and speaking in front of a group of people. And I kept speaking, and I kept reading these words out. And I looked at my boss's boss, who I realized was really unhappy with what we were delivering. Because what I didn't know as a sort of young 19, 20-year-old was I was being stitched up as a mouthpiece to say stuff that they weren't going to be happy about. And I was too naive to know any different about corporate politics in those days. And I looked at him, and he wasn't a happy bunny. But every time I looked at him whilst I was speaking, he'd look down. He wouldn't look up, he'd look down. And then I'd look at other people who I was looking for people for support. Basically, I was terrified. And every time I looked at them, with a couple of exceptions who would give me thumbs up, but the vast majority of them looked down. Why did they look down? They looked down because they were scared in case I picked on them to say something in front of a group of people. And it was at that point I started to realize that people are very nervous about speaking and presenting. Sure, a load of years later, we did the Undeath Game third book and all the rest of it. I learned a lot just from that happening. Now, I'd love to tell you I became a keynote speaker 30 seconds later. Well, I didn't. I did all sorts of jobs. I got involved in all sorts of things. And I had a corporate career till I was 40. And the one thing I learned as I went up the ladder, I was the world's worst salesperson, undoubtedly. I actually became a top performer. But the reason I became a top performer was I did this. I started to learn. I started to check out people. I started to check out people who I valued their opinion. I checked out, I read loads of books. I watched all sorts of DVDs and, which you don't do now. You just got a YouTube now, don't you? But I did all that sort of stuff. And I got involved in all sorts of things. And yes, 23 years ago, I joined the PSA as a fledgling speaker. And I learned from an awful lot of special people. And I'm lucky that a number of those these days, I know them as friends. The point is, I went to school. I went back to school, but I went back to school with something that was really important. All right. A lot of the stuff I was 11 to a 16-year-old, I will never have used. But having the opportunity to stand up, to speak, to present, to put your point of view across, to be recognized, to have the opportunity to get more business because the fridge might not be so full in your business currently. Well, standing up and talking to people at networking events, opportunities for seminars, etc. That's the chance of you going forward. So speaking is important. And after all, if it is your business, who else is going to speak for you? Someone else going to do it for you. You're the best person to speak about it. And if you're employed and you want to take your career forward, all right, the way to do it is being able to put your point of view across. You don't have to be the world's greatest speaker. And Anna mentioned it just very briefly. I'm a firm believer, and in fact, in the book And Death Came Third, I talk about natural presentation. I'm known as the family businessman. Yes, I've worked with literally thousands of family businesses. I'm also known as the natural presenter. It was a title I was given many years ago by someone. And I'm very grateful for it. It actually is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me in terms of speaking. That is, Peter, the thing about you is you're absolutely natural. You're exactly the same on stage as off stage. And that's what I was always trying to do. When I used to watch lots of other speakers, I used to look at them and go, oh, wow, look at what they do. Isn't that fantastic? And I'd try and do it. And guess what? It didn't work so well because it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I learned to be myself. Brumming accents, less hair, 67 years old now. I am what I am. It took me a few years to learn that. And I hope that what we will share with you briefly with what Anna's going to share with you now, because there is one area that we both agree more than any other is it's all about the story. Business is all about the story. I've got a new website coming out in January. It talks about it's all about the story. Business is all about the story. The whole area of business about the story. When it comes to speaking and presenting, it is all about the story. The story is the thing that makes the difference. And Anna's going to talk more about that in a minute. So hopefully that is useful. Hope that made you think about things. Don't think that just because we're here and we've been speaking for quite a few years, that it's all very well for you to say. We get it. We understand that everyone has to start somewhere. Wherever you are in your speaking and presentation journey, you need to learn from people. And, we have some stuff we think we can share with you that will help you, not just today, but in a program that we're launching in the new year. And we make no apologies that, we are going to say to you, here's a program. And by the way, this is how we make money, because why wouldn't we? But we're not into all this unethical selling and trust rubbish where we're going to tell you, well, by the way, we're going to get you £10,000 worth of clients in a second and the business is going to roll towards you. That's not what this is about. This is about making you better. This is about you being a natural presenter, about being better at speaking and presenting at wherever it is you want to be and however you want to be. And that can be as small or as big as you want it to be. So, Anna and I are just not into that stuff. We will share with you some ideas. You can go and check it out and see if it's something you like. If you do, we'll talk to you about it. And I guess that's about it, really. And that program is called Speak with Impact and Elevate Your Business. So with that, I hope that's been useful. I hope that's made you think about things from a different perspective. Why is the key to everything? Why is the key in all parts of business? Certainly when it comes to speaking and presenting, you need to understand why, first of all, why you want to do this, why you. And when you get that, then you can start looking at things. So I hope that was useful. And I think we'll go over to Anna now, if you're ready to give it a go.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Peter. That was fascinating. I mean, speaking can absolutely change your life, and it has changed my life. Those of you who know me, if you're watching the live recording, you know that I come from Ukraine, from deep poverty in Ukraine, and I had that crazy dream to come to America. And my journey has been quite interesting, really. It's different because I followed that dream and I managed to move on my own from poverty in Ukraine, from a small town to America, and build my life there. Now, there were lots of challenges, there were lots of frustrations, lots of disappointments, and lots of stories of becoming. But at some point, I realized that as I was working hard manual jobs, like being a waitress, and because I didn't really have qualifications, I didn't speak English that much, I was looking for something better in my life. I knew that I could be, do, and have more than just work really hard. And that's when I discovered my passion for public speaking, but in particular, storytelling. I started sharing my stories of what it was like to grow up in a different country, in a different culture. But what I realized is that we all are human beings, and no matter where we come from, we all have the same dreams, aspirations, and the same fears, really. So public speaking, and in particular storytelling, has really changed my life. And it isn't just the story of overcoming challenges and pursuing courageously your dreams. It's also about, for me at least, it was about discovering my identity, finding clarity and confidence in my voice, where I belong, and what I do with my life. And I obviously wanted to change my results by inspiring other people to change their results. I wanted all those things that we all want, better place to live, more opportunities, more money, more things I could afford. But I had to go a little bit deeper, not just start with the results. I had to, first of all, learn the language, make sure that people understand me and I understand people, and connect with them. Connection is the next level of influence. When you can connect with people, you can ethically influence them, inspire them. Oh, thank you, Peter, for putting me on, because I'm going to share my my iPad in a second. So when I say that speaking has really changed my life, I mean it. It opened doors to so many opportunities. I shared the stages with some giants in the industry, like John Maxwell, Seth Godin, Nick Vujicic, Les Brown. It was really amazing. And I have spoken internationally in the UK, obviously, in Spain, Ukraine, Costa Rica, America, and Canada. But the biggest reward for me is hear people say, "You've inspired me with your story to pursue my own life of greatness." Now, I'm no different than anybody else, really. In fact, I don't have any special talents or skills or some unique expertise. I was a simple girl who was mocked and humiliated at school for her poverty. But if someone like me could find clarity in her voice and confidence in her message and change her life, I believe anyone can do it. You have more power than you realize. You have more power than you give yourself credit for. And speaking can absolutely change your life once you overcome that fear. But there is a strategy of how you can overcome your fear. And we're going to talk about that, in the program that we have after this webinar. But for now, let's talk a little bit about in the context of business. No, most business owners, they want to grow their business, and it usually translates into, I want more clients and I want more money, which is a fair question, because that's how success is measured traditionally, right? It's a fair aspiration. Clients and money give oxygen to the business and create growth. However, that's not where the journey begins. Because if you imagine an iceberg, I'm going to do some drawing here. Everything above the water level is shallow, and everything below the water level is deep. And you can't be shallow and deep at the same time. Now, a shallow approach to creating, building, or growing a business elicits shallow thinking. And the greatest form of a shallow thinking is asking a question, well, how do I get more clients and make more money? Those tangible results that we all want. But the deep approach to building and growing your business elicits deep thinking. And the greatest form of a deep thinking is asking a question, how do I connect with my audience in a genuine and authentic way? How do I influence them? What's the true meaning of the impact that I create? How do I articulate it? Most people operate at a shallow level, just the tangible results. Show me the way, show me the how, like give me the tools to create those results. In other words, asking more about more clients, making more money and creating more sales is a shallow conversation, because it's like looking at the tip of the iceberg, which is only 10% of what's happening with the entire structure. What's actually going on? 90% of the iceberg is below the water level, the part that we can't see. And the truth of the matter is that no matter how much wind and storm you blow at the tip of the iceberg will always move in the direction of the base, because that's where the majesty is. So more clients, more money, and more sales is a fair question, but it's not the right question. That's not where the journey begins. I'd like for you to focus on how to make the base the powerhouse, because that's how you unlock the magic, really. I want you to imagine what your business and your life would look like if you had the clarity on how to express the value of what you do, on what you provide, in a way that persuades and influences your audience in an ethical way, because we are all about ethical and authentic way. Would that make a difference to you? Have that clarity, value, and persuasion when it comes to your message? I want to make the assumption that it would make a difference, because that would give you confidence to clearly and powerfully express your message, what you do, showcase your business. But I also believe that no matter how important clarity, value, and persuasion are when it comes to clearly expressing your business and public speaking, it gets even deeper than that, because I believe you can become an authentic impact maker, and that's where the story, the power of stories comes into play. Your story is your power, really. That's what differentiates you. That's what makes you stand out. That's what presents your uniqueness. We are all unique. We are all different. But how do you express it? How do you make people really see who you are? Because stories is something that opens our hearts, activates and engages our minds, and compels people to take action. Now, if you do it right, if you share your heart, if you clearly express your message, you connect with people at a soul level. When you are able to connect with people at a soul level, you are able to influence them because you know the value of what you do. And the next level is to learn to express that value in a way that resonates, that hits the spot in other people. So you can absolutely become that authentic impact maker. Well, how do you do it? I believe that anyone can do it. Well, let me share a little story. Don't my words. Let me share a little story of one of my favorite people, really. She's my client, Michelle Stefano. She's holding my book. By the way, I'm the author of 2 books. I have shared my journey, my story in the first book that I wrote in 2018, Create the Life You Dream About, showcasing my path of what it took me to come from poverty in Ukraine to build life on my own in America. And obviously now I'm here in the UK because you can blame my husband for that. You know, he took me from St. Paul, Miami and brought me to gloriously gray England, which is very dark, but it's still beautiful. I'm just kidding. I love it here. Anyways, Michelle Stefano. She came to me because she wanted to launch her coaching business. She had a great career in the hospital. She was a nurse leader for 30 years. And then one day, out of the blue, she was let go. Thank you very much, officers, but we are making some cuts. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that when they just, lost their career of 30 years. After a short time of pity party, Michelle took a jump into the scary world of entrepreneurship. And she quickly discovered that she couldn't really articulate and communicate the value she could bring to her clients. Now, she didn't know how to leverage her great experience and expertise, how to articulate it in a powerful way, craft a powerful message to get business. So we got to work together, leveraging her story and crafting her signature blueprint. And Michelle, she's an action taker. She gets stuff done. So she developed her program, which she calls SOAR coaching program. So she, because that's essentially what she did. She jumped, she soared, and she landed on her feet. She managed, after she crafted and learned how to express the value of that program, she started getting some one-to-one clients. She was ecstatic about it because she was getting some traction. But soon enough, she hit the lid because at some point she realized that she was just trading time for money. And it wasn't a smart way to run a business. So recently, she came up with this idea to launch her inner circle, kind of like a high-end mastermind group. And her goal was to sign 10 people. And she kept giving me updates because she did a lot of speaking online and offline. She was leveraging her opportunities. She was really, each time she spoke more, she developed more confidence and more clarity in her message, in her voice. And she kept sending me those emails on her progress. Oh, I signed 3 clients. I signed 5 clients. And recently she sent me this email saying that she sold the 9th client. Now, all those people, she actually sold 10 clients. I don't have the email for it. All those 10 people have committed to stay with her for a year subscription, which means she doesn't really have to hustle each month to get new clients. And she has also secured some speaking opportunities to showcase her business further and get more business. Now, it all started with developing her story, crafting her message that uniquely represented who she was, her expertise, and why working with Michelle. Because there are many other coaches who can essentially provide similar services. But your story is truly your power. There is no reason why Michelle's story can't be your story. But it all begins with how you position your expertise. How do you allow your biggest leverage, your voice, create your results? I want to share with you another simple model that will give you some ideas, and please capture those insights, write them down as you're going through that, because they will give you lots of clarity. So there are 4 dimensions that people can occupy when it comes to speaking and sharing your message. Now, there are a few things that first we need to consider. The first one is how you show up. And a lot of people show up to impress. Now, when you show up to impress, it's about you. But when you show up to inspire, it's no longer about you, it's about your audience. On the other side, you have to consider how you position your value. And for many people, especially those who are just starting making their awkward attempts at public speaking, it's shallow and confusing. They don't really know how to clearly and confidently express the value of what you do. It's inconsistent, it's perhaps not coherent, and there is a lot of room for growth. But if you figure out how to position your value, profound value, in a simple and easy to understand way, things change for you. So depending on how you show up and how you position your value, what are those quadrants that you can occupy? Well, if you show up to impress and you have really figured out how to express your message in a powerful, clear, and confident way, you occupy the space of what I call being a copycat. We've seen those people, haven't we, who are just regurgitating someone else's ideas, powerful quotes, someone says they're trying to demonstrate how much they know, how much they have read, but it's not really resonating. It's not that clear. It's a bit confusing. You don't know where it's going. What's the point? What's the message? Why I should listen to it? It's a red zone. On the other side, however, you can figure out how to position your profound value. You can clarify and confidently articulate the value of what you do. But if you come from the place of, it's about me, I'm just here to make an impression, you occupy the space of what I call being the ego person. Hey, look at me. I'm a big shot. I know my secrets. I have figured out this thing of how to make it work. And I'm just here to shine in my own power, my own glory. We've seen those people, haven't we? And it's really, all those people, they just care about themselves, their wallet. What Peter mentioned earlier, that, hey, come to me, I'll show you these 3 steps and you can make 10,000, 20, 30 million. I don't know, the number keeps going up in your sleep. We've seen people, they're good marketers, but are they really that good? They know how to make money, but it's not authentic impact maker way, because that's not how we roll. And if you want that magic wand, first of all, not how it works in business, in life, we are not the right people for you. But we know what truly creates results, the process. But it starts with your emotional shift in your consciousness, from trying to impress people to inspire them. You have to shift your focus from yourself to your audience. And when you do that, things begin to change. Now, there might be a slight problem, because We have seen, my husband and I, we run a conscious coaching academy, and we have seen those people who truly have the right, who have their heart in the right place. They want to help people. They want to add value to other people. But if they haven't really figured out how to position their value in a clear and succinct way, they occupy this space of what I call being an amateur. They are making these awkward attempts of, sharing their story, sharing the message, but it's not that consistent. It's not that clear. It's not that resonant, really. It's not that coherent. And again, room for growth. Now, our goal for you is to occupy the stop quadrant of dark green zone, where you crystal clearly clarify how to position your value, your profound value. You know how to articulate it, but in a way that everyone can understand. And you come from the place of inspiration. You are there for them. So even though you might share a little bit of your story, of your journey, your path, but it's for the purpose of inspiring your audience and creating a bigger picture for them. And when you reach that level, you occupy the space of what I call being a respected expert. Now, you already are a respected expert in the field of what you do, like your business or career or whatever you do. But when it comes to speaking, so when your audience looks up to you because they believe that you can help them, they resonate with your voice, you connect with them at heart and soul level. Wouldn't that be nice to reach that dark green zone where things just align and naturally share your message that comes from the heart, and you see that it creates those light bulb moments in your audience? Wouldn't that be great? I hope it would. But you can take this level even further. If you take your ability to inspire and position your value of 8 and above, you can occupy the superhero zone, or what I call being the visionary guide. And the moment you become the visionary guide is the moment you look at your audience as heroes. You see that bigger potential for them. You see that bigger picture for them, of what's possible in the context of what you do. If you're a business owner, you provide value with your services. If you're in a career, you're making some kind of impact, but you can articulate it in a way that will truly inspire and transform your audience. I'm here to tell you, my friends, that you can absolutely embody that space. You can become the visionary guide, where if you get your ability to inspire and your ability to position your profound value with crystal clarity, confidence, and power. So once you get there, you share with the power of your stories what's possible for your people. You share your story, but it's about them. You allow your audience to see themselves in your story. You introduce what's possible for them, and you invite them to join your world, so you can guide them to become the hero of their own life. Now, you can absolutely do it. And we, as Peter mentioned, we have the program that I'm going to share. Oh, I need to hurry. Like once I get in my zone, I lose track of time. But let's talk briefly about your future. So most people, when it comes to creating their future, they think that the space is between today and some point in future is a straight line. First of all, let me ask you this question. How clear are you on the vision of your future, where you are taking your life, let's say in 12 months? What does that look like? Do you have clarity? Because you need to have a clear picture to work with. But it's not a straight line as most people think. It's a curve, and it accelerates further down you go. Now you can either go up into your dream business, it's called dream business or dream future, or a lot of people can go down into mediocrity or worse. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be on the green line or do you want to be on the red line? I presume that if you're watching this webinar, you want to be on the green line, obviously. But what is the difference between red and green line? Well, the difference between a red and green line is the difference between drift and decision. And there are a few decisions that you need to make as a leader, as a business owner, as a conscious creator of your destiny, because you are. So the first decision you need to make is, are you willing to jump the lines? Are you willing to step up on the green line? Because that's the first step. The second decision you need to make is, are you willing to stay on the green line and be committed to take the right steps to get you to the desired results that will present that dream business, your dream future? Because the truth of the matter is that people don't fall off the green line, behave off the green line. So you need to be committed and you need to have the discipline and accountability to help you get to that place of building and creating your dream business, and your future, your intentionally designed future. And Peter and I, we have the program called Speak with Impact, which I'm going to go over just a second, that will create that accountability for you, that will help you be committed and dedicate your attention and your focus to the law of process. So that's the second decision. Are you willing to stay on the green line? The third decision is, how long are you prepared to wait? A lot of people might say, yeah, that sounds good. I want to intentionally create my future. I want to build that dream business, build that dream career, but it's not the right time. I want to wait. I'll do it next week or next month or next year or whatever the case might be. Now, that's fine, absolutely fine. It's your life and you are the captain of your soul. But the truth is, we have been in this business for quite some time. The truth is, the longer you postpone to make a decision to jump the line, the wider the gap becomes between the red and green line. And it becomes harder, more complex, more difficult, costlier to jump the line. Successful people make decisions quickly and they stay committed. They stay fixated on their goal, on their vision, what it is they want to achieve. So with that being said, I want to encourage you to jump on the green line in everything you do, not just when you make a decision to join our program or not. It doesn't really make a difference to us. Of course, we would love to have you, but you have to be intentional to get on the green line to creating your dream future. Now, the program, what's inside? Briefly, it's a 6-week process. Let me just move my picture so I can, you can see it. It's a 6-week process that is going to be phenomenal, really. But briefly details for the sake of time. The first session, Peter will talk to you about why I'm speaking. You probably have gathered that he loves that question, why. Establishing the why is the stepping stone to creating clear and powerful presentation or message. It establishes the purpose of your speech, of your message, your intent. And if you don't know why you're speaking, you're going to be all over the place. You won't create a coherent speech, a coherent message. And I will talk about why stories as a way to massively differentiate yourself on the marketplace, build your brand, build your credibility, and express your uniqueness and how remarkable you are, because you are. And stories is a powerful tool to open up people's behavior, to compel their behavior and open up their minds really to possibility. And there is an art and science to storytelling, and I'll talk about that. It's going to be a really exciting session. Session number 2, what's your point? What's the message that you want to share? I've worked with a lot of people, helping them craft their messages, and I see it all the time that people can share some great, invaluable information or content, but then when it comes to, okay, and what's the point? They don't know. There is no clarity. And if your audience doesn't know, can't gather the point or the message in a clear and powerful way, what you're saying, they're not going to be engaged. They're not going to listen to you. And there is a science behind clarifying the point or the message you're making. And Peter, with his 40 plus years of experience, will share that secret with you, which isn't really a secret, but it's going to transform the way you communicate. And I'm going to talk about the storytelling framework to help organize any story in a coherent and clear way, sharing just the relevant details to connect, build credibility, and persuade your audience. A lot of people either share too much or don't share enough, just not impactful. It's a 3-step process that you could use in so many different ways, whether it's a 3-minute vignette or 45-minute keynote or really a day workshop. It's really powerful. Session number 3, how do you close the speech? You have to begin with the end in mind, and you have to be really strategic about your closing. So Peter will talk about that, because what you say last is going to be what people will remember most. So you have to be strategic about it. And I will share with you the types of about the types of stories, because you're not going to look, storytelling is not just engaging in a creative effort, like creative writing class. It's strategic, right? So you have to know how to craft your story in a strategic way, and what types of stories to use to emotionally connect, awaken possibility, awaken really, activate people's desire, to inspire them to make decisions. And there are different types that you could use in your business building and marketing efforts. Session number 4 will be about the opening of the speech. It's so important. If you can't get people's attention in the beginning, they're not gonna stay with you till the end, no matter how much value you have later on to share. So you have to really capture their attention at the beginning. And Peter will share his secret and his years of experience of how to do it in a powerful way. And I'm going to talk about the strategic approach to storytelling, because it's you have to capture attention. You have to activate people's interest, desire, and compel them to take action. Session number 5, we're going to talk about, this is going to be a fun session, what you put in the middle of the speech. And Peter will talk about the body, how to construct and craft the body of your speech. And I will talk about how to generate ideas that stand out, how to make and express your uniqueness and how remarkable you are. And there are some practical steps that you could take to get your juices flowing and to create those attention-worthy details. Session number 6 is going to be about accountability, plan of action, discussions, and feedback. So gonna have lots of fun. The price here I have already put to save the time for the founding members is £697. This is going to go up later on, but this is just for the founding members. So if we would love to have you, kind of rushing, I wish I had more time, but if that resonates with you, we would love to welcome you to our 6-week courses and to guide you through this powerful program. So I believe Peter is going to put the QR code for you to check it out. If you have any questions, please ask myself or Peter, and we'll be happy to answer them. Peter, do you have anything to add? Oh, there it is.
Oh, no, that's the wrong
There
one.
is the
Hold
QR
on.
code.
No, wrong QR code. There you go. That's a better one.
Oh,
there you go,
go.
Anna. I'm conscious of time. I know we said 60 minutes. We're just about there for that. There's a QR code. Take your phone and stick it up there, and it'll take you straight to the landing page with information on it. But really simply, get in touch with either of us, and we'll talk you through. We're starting it in the new year. I'm very excited by this. Let's put this straight into perspective. You've got somebody who had a dream as a child who was in poverty in Ukraine, who had a dream to go to America, found her way there, found the tough way of working in America, because America is tough, and then found out the area that she could actually excel in. Learned a second language. I mean, she's been talking to you today in a second language, and she can speak in other languages too, which staggers me, but there you go. And you have somebody of a different gender, a different age, looking at the way of speaking. Likewise with me, I've got a few years of experience of speaking and presenting in many ways. You've got you've got two very different viewpoints, but married by one very important thing, which is storytelling. Wherever you are in business or in life, the opportunity to stand up and speak and present. I remember helping somebody once, and all that was one speech, and that speech was a eulogy for one of their close relatives at a funeral. And they had the courage to talk about a story, and they shared that story, and it made a huge difference. And it might be as simple as that for you. And if it is, I know that we'll share some stuff with you that will help you. I think the likelihood is it will be that you are either employed or running your own business, and you want to be taken seriously for what you do. And if that is what you want to achieve, I can tell you now that business is all about stories and storytelling. It's about understanding how to share stories with clients in a way that's meaningful and impactful, so you're positioned accordingly. And that's what we will do. That's what we love doing. That's what got us to join together to do this. And so if it's something you fancy doing, fantastic. We'd love to talk to you about it. Those of you that are in the studio currently, thank you for listening to this. I'm going to finish this live recording in a second, which is across Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But I'm going to invite you into the studio afterwards, just for a brief chat, just to say hi. You're not live, so it's just us having a chat with each other. But for everybody else that's watching this right now, it's been a pleasure to serve you. We've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. If we never see you again, I hope you've got something from the day. And if nothing else, remember that stories are the real power. They are the real power. Anna, thank you as ever. Thanks to everybody else.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time, and we sincerely hope that it was valuable for you. I would love for you to join if that resonates, of course.
Yeah, I'm gonna play out some nice quiet music. Thanks, everybody. It's good to see you. See you now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day and enjoy the festivities of Christmas season.